Now let's take a look at how to get our work both saved and into other applications. So we're going to take a look at how to save projects as well as how to export both 2D and 3D art. So before we do that, we need to create a piece of art. So I'm going to go into Remix 3D and just select some random object. Now at the top of my list here, I've got this object here called Apatosaurus. And it's just a very nice dinosaur. So I'm going to go ahead and just place that in my project. And go ahead and move and align that the way that I want. And then I just want a very simple scene here. So I'm just going to add some text here. And I'm going to make it 2D text. And let's go ahead and just set the font, set a reasonably large font size. And go ahead and click, and let's go ahead and type in Apatosaurus, which is the type of dinosaur. And I'm going to go ahead and position this and click off of it. So now, if I look at this in 3D, we have Apatosaurus on the canvas, and then we actually have the Apatosaurus model in the scene. Now, if I want to save this and come back and work on it again, I probably want to save it in a Paint 3D project. So we can do that by going into Menu, Save or Save As. I'm going to go ahead and do Save here. And it's going to give me an option here. And the only option it gives me is Paint 3D Project. So I'm going to call this Apatosaurus and save that in Paint 3D. So now, if I were to do, say, a File New, and then just do an open, you'll see that I have this project sitting out here. Now these projects are in a Paint 3D format, and so they're not really consumable by other people. We will need to export this to get it into other types of applications. So Paint 3D's file format is pretty much exclusive to the application. So let's say I wanted to get this into a flat 2D picture. I can do that by just doing an export. I can do Menu, Export File, and notice how we have a number of different file types. We have a couple of 3D file types, which I'll get to in just a second, but we also have 2D, we have a PNG and a JPEG. I'm going to go ahead and export this to JPEG, and I'm going to export it to apatosaurus.jpg. And once I do, you can see that the image itself is here, and it's really just the 2D version of this file. So it's what you're seeing when you're in edit mode. Now, if you want a little bit more control over your images, you can export in a 3D format. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go into Menu, Export, and in this case, I can export in one of three different file formats. I can export in GLB, FBX, and 3MF. Now, the most popular format for external applications is probably FBX, and so that allows you to get the models into all sorts of different 3D applications. So I'm going to use FBX for now, and we're going to, again, export to Apatosaurus, in this case, apatosaurus.fbx. And so now I have an FBX file on my disk. Now I can import this 3D file into a number of different applications. And one of the nice things is that I can import it into Office-based applications such as Word and PowerPoint. So let's take a look at how to get this into Word. I'm going to open up Word, and then under Insert, with the latest version, you'll see that we now have Import 3D Models. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that from a file, and then I've exported to my own documents folder here, and so I'm just going to find the file that I exported, in this case apatosaurus.fbx, and just hit Insert. And when I do, boom, there it is. I have 3D objects in Word. Now I can orbit this, and notice when I orbit it, it's basically just exactly what we saw in Paint 3D. So this is my canvas back here, and then I have my model in front of it. So if I wanted to, I could adjust the angle of this. If I just wanted the model, I could hide the canvas in Paint 3D and then just export the model. So there's a number of ways to work with this, but as you can see, it is now in another application, in this case, Word. Now, if you want, you can also export into more technical applications such as CAD or 3D animation programs. So I'm going to show you how to bring this into another application. So this is really just for demonstration. So I've got 3ds Max, which is an Autodesk application, and all we have to do is do import, and then just, again, select our FBX file and hit OK. Now, you may not have 3ds Max, but this just shows you that you can bring this into just about any application. And again, we get the 3D model, we get the canvas, and it all comes across very, very nicely. So as you can see, we can export from Paint 3D into both 2D and 3D file formats.